Troubled Blood, JK Rowling's new book, seems to have been written basically just to troll people. And if so, she's done an excellent job. Because of what this book is about, she's being called a transphobe once again. And if you've been following anything about her in the news over the past several years, you'd know that it's not really new. As a matter of fact, just earlier this year, there was an article that came out and that said, creating a more equal post-COVID-19 world for people who menstruate. And she rightfully pointed out that, quote, people who menstruate is a very weird phrase, and we used to be able to say that they were women. But apparently you can no longer do that because according to people on Twitter at least, it's, quote, exclusionary to transgender men and women. And I don't want to go into too much depth about the past, but you probably already know that she's been accused of transphobia on a number of occasions, most of which are fairly ridiculous, but let's just look at the newest allegation, and why I actually think I've come to like her a little bit more just because of this book. According to Pink News, and take it with a grain of salt because it's Pink News, it says that JK Rowling's latest book is about a murderous cis man who dresses as a woman to kill his victims. It's about this detective, Cormoran Strike, investigating a cis male serial killer who dresses as a woman to kill his cis female victims. And so because people have already claimed that she was transphobic, this is basically just cementing that in their minds and proving that it must be the case. Because only someone who is transphobic would write that a cis man who dresses as a woman could ever possibly be a bad guy or a murderer. Now obviously this proves nothing aside from the fact that JK Rowling doesn't really seem to care, and I think that's pretty awesome. I mean, she knew this was going to happen because it had in the past, and she went with it anyway. So if she doesn't backtrack and she keeps going like this, well, I'd kind of respect that. And trust me, I don't agree with her on most anything politically, but it's still respectable. Continuing to go forward amid all of this criticism, well, that would be something. Now you can look at all the criticism because there's plenty, but I want to highlight one here that is so entirely ridiculous that they think they're making a good point, but they're absolutely not. I don't know who Rosie Halford is, but this is what she said. It's so incredibly ham-fisted, all the lacking in originality and creativity that Rowling is famous for. And maybe Rosie, the mermaiden, wasn't around when Harry Potter was a thing, but it's pretty much the best-selling book series in the world. And I don't think you would get a best-selling book series if it was lacking in originality or creativity. I don't know what you're talking about, but that's a really stupid criticism. But most of the criticism is focused on her and once again pointing out that she must be transphobic. Now here, I want to make 2 points. First, the murderer or the bad guy in this book is not trans. Even Pink News points out that it's a cis man who dresses as a woman. So she is not attacking the trans community or anything like that because he's a cis man. But more importantly, it's just a book. She is not calling for violence on anyone. She's not calling for people to lose their rights, for anything like that to happen. She is writing a book about an individual that she wants to write a book about. It's not hurting anyone. And people are saying that it is going to hurt them emotionally or physically or whatever. It's a book. It's not hurting you. And in case you think it does, think about this for 1 second. The white male in virtually every TV show or book is the bad guy, almost all the time. And a lot of times it happens to be Germans, but I don't really associate with that because I'm not German. But guess what? That doesn't hurt me. When I see that a white male is a bad guy, I get over it because I'm not a bad guy. And if this offends you as a trans person, I'm sorry, but you kind of need to get over that. Trans people can be bad guys. Everyone can be a bad guy.
Hey, sir, there's a young man in here.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
I can call the police if you'd like me to. You need to settle down.
You need to settle down and mind your business, okay? Ma'am, once again, ma'am.
Let's not pretend that because of where one group sits on the hierarchy of victimhood, that you can't be used as a villain in a movie or a book, because that's absolutely absurd. It's a book. And I haven't seen it yet, but I'm willing to bet there are going to be people who claim that it's hate speech and will try to get it banned or at least not published. And once again, to them, I say get over it. It's a book and it's not going to hurt you. If this makes you not want to read or watch Harry Potter again, then I don't really care. You do whatever you want. You're an idiot, but you do what you want. Again, I don't agree with her on virtually anything politically, but that's not going to stop me from remembering that Harry Potter was basically my childhood. And even if she went as crazy left as Jim Carrey, I'd still like Harry Potter. Nothing would change that. But you know, that thought process is a little bit too rational for people today. Nowadays, we'd much rather be upset at everything and try to blame someone and claim that we're victims. And to be honest, I'm never going to read this book. At least I don't really have any desire to. But the fact that she's willing to do it and publish it kind of increases my respect for her just a little bit. Because it's probably the most trolling move I've ever seen someone do. Knowing full well the repercussions, this is what she wanted to do, and good for her. More power to her. What are your thoughts about this? I know you haven't read the book, but let me know what you think about it generally down in the comment section below. And if you think the criticism is at all valid, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you always get these videos. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.